In the beginning, there was a question that has echoed through the ages. Who created the universe and who created God? As we stand beneath the vast sky, gazing at the stars, our minds inevitably wander to the very heart of existence. Who made the sun that warms our skin, the moon that lights the night, and the stars that guide our way? Who is the creator of all this beauty and complexity? We turn to science for answers, looking to the Big Bang Theory and the mysteries of the cosmos. But even as we seek the origins of the universe, we are met with another question that lingers in our minds. If God created the universe, then who created God? Is there a beginning to the Creator? Or is God eternal, beyond time and space, a presence that has always been? These questions, deep and profound, have driven both scientists and theologians to explore the very nature of existence. From the theories of Georges Lemaitre, who bridged the realms of science and faith, to the contemplations of Stephen Hawking, who sought to explain the cosmos without the need for a creator, we find ourselves on a journey that spans centuries. But beyond the answers, there is something even more powerful: the pursuit of understanding, the search for the divine, not just in the stars or in ancient texts, but within ourselves. For the Creator is not merely an entity that exists outside of us, but a presence that calls us to reflect, to seek, and to discover the interconnectedness of all things. And as we explore these ideas, we may find that the answers we seek are not simply about the universe's origins, but about our place within it. So, join me on this journey of discovery as we explore the mysteries of creation, the eternal question of who created God, and the profound truths that lie at the heart of existence. Let's uncover the divine wisdom hidden in the fabric of the cosmos and see what lies beyond the veil of time and space. In the vastness of the cosmos, the question of creation has always loomed large. From the dawn of human thought, we have gazed at the stars, pondered the existence of the universe, and asked, where did it all begin? We see the world around us, the sun rising, the moon shining, the stars twinkling, and we are struck by the beauty and order of it all. But if there is such order, who set it in motion? Who made the heavens and the earth? In the ancient texts, we are told that God created the world in the beginning. The Bible begins with the powerful words, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." These words have echoed throughout the centuries, offering a simple yet profound answer to the question of creation. But even as we seek to understand the Creator, we are left with another question. How? How did this great Creator bring about the world as we know it? And if the Creator is eternal, without beginning or end, where did he come from? This is where the intersection of science and faith becomes truly fascinating. For centuries, science sought to understand the mechanisms of the universe, while faith sought to understand the purpose behind it. And in the early 20th century, a remarkable man by the name of Georges Lemaitre began to bridge the gap between these two worlds. Lemaitre was both a priest and a scientist, a man deeply rooted in faith, yet also fascinated by the mysteries of the cosmos. He believed that science and religion were not enemies, but complementary paths toward understanding the ultimate truth. Truth, he believed, was not confined to scripture alone, nor to scientific formulas. Both paths, he thought, could lead to the same divine Creator. Lemaitre was not content to simply accept the scientific views of his time. In the early 1920s, the prevailing belief in the scientific community was that the universe was eternal, that it had no beginning and no end. This view aligned well with the post-Enlightenment secular mindset that had become dominant in Europe. But Lemaitre, drawing upon the work of Albert Einstein and his theory of general relativity, saw something different. He saw the possibility that the universe was not static but dynamic, that it was expanding. What Lemaitre proposed was nothing short of revolutionary, that the universe at one time must have been smaller, more compact, perhaps even compressed into a single point. And from that point, he theorized, the universe began to expand, creating everything we see today. This idea, later known as the Big Bang Theory, was more than just a scientific hypothesis. For Lemaitre, it was a profound theological idea, a reflection of the opening words of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But Lemaitre's idea was met with resistance. Many in the scientific community, including Einstein, rejected the notion. Einstein, in fact, famously told Lemaitre, "Your calculations are correct, but your physics is abominable." The concept of a universe with a beginning was deeply unsettling to many scientists, for it suggested that there was a point in time when the universe did not exist, a moment that seemed to invite the question, who caused this moment? And that, for some, was a question that science was not yet ready to answer. Yet Lemaitre persisted. He refined his theory, gathering more evidence, and by 1929, his work began to gain traction. That year, American astronomer Edwin Hubble made a key discovery. Galaxies were moving away from each other. This observation provided the empirical support Lemaitre needed, and the theory of an expanding universe began to take hold. The term Big Bang was coined, not as a scientific term, but as a dismissive nickname from one of Lemaitre's critics, Fred Hoyle. Yet, ironically, the name stuck, and over time, it became the cornerstone of modern cosmology. For Lemaitre, the Big Bang theory was not just a scientific triumph, it was a moment of spiritual validation. The idea that the universe had a beginning, just as Genesis had described, was for him a powerful confirmation that science and faith could coexist. He saw the Big Bang as evidence of a creator who initiated the universe, but he was careful not to conflate his scientific work with his theological beliefs. He maintained that science could never prove the existence of God, but it could offer a deeper appreciation for the grandeur of creation. The Big Bang theory, with its awe-inspiring implications, calls us to reflect on the nature of our own existence. It raises questions about the beginning of time itself, about the origins of space and matter, and about the possibility that the universe is the result of a grand, purposeful design. But beyond the scientific questions, there is a deeper, more personal question. How do we find meaning in this vast and intricate universe? And this is where we come to the lessons we can learn from Lemaitre's work. Lemaitre's life reminds us that faith and science need not be in conflict. In fact, they can complement each other in powerful ways. Science can help us understand how the universe works, but faith can help us understand why it exists in the first place. Lemaitre's faith in God did not hinder his scientific inquiry. It deepened it. He saw his scientific work as a way to explore the mind of God, to understand the universe not just as a collection of atoms and forces, but as a grand design, one that reveals the Creator's wisdom. As we continue our own exploration of the cosmos, we are reminded that the search for answers is not just an intellectual pursuit, it is also a spiritual journey. Just as Lemaitre sought to reconcile his scientific understanding with his faith, we too must seek to understand the universe in ways that resonate with both our minds and our hearts. And in that journey, we may find that the questions we ask, the questions about the beginning of the universe, the nature of God, and our place within it, are not just answers to be found in textbooks or telescopes, but in the very depths of our own souls. So, let us continue our search for understanding, with the same curiosity and faith that guided Georges Lemaitre. And as we explore the origins of the universe, may we be reminded that the search for meaning is not just a quest for knowledge, but a quest for the divine, who, in the beginning, created the heavens and the earth. As we continue to look deeper into the origin of the universe and the search for its creator, we now find ourselves face to face with a remarkable figure in the history of science, one whose vision both challenged and changed our understanding of the cosmos. Stephen Hawking, a man whose very existence defied the limitations of the human condition, presented us with a vision of the universe that seemed to dismiss the need for a creator altogether. Through his groundbreaking work, Hawking offered a theory that shook the scientific and theological communities alike. The notion that the universe could have created itself. Hawking's model, known as the no-boundary proposal, was built upon the principles of quantum mechanics and general relativity. In this model, the universe didn't need a single defining moment of creation. Instead, it could have emerged naturally from a quantum state, without a boundary or beginning point. This was revolutionary, for it directly opposed the traditional idea of a universe with a specific starting point, a creation moment in time, and thus a creator. Hawking argued that if the laws of physics are indeed consistent, and if we follow the rules of quantum mechanics, there's no need for a creator to set the universe in motion. For him, the universe simply exists because of the laws of gravity and quantum mechanics. In his own words, because there is a law like gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. This bold statement suggested that the universe could spontaneously create itself without the need for any external force or divine intervention. However, Hawking's model, though groundbreaking, did not go without its critics. One of the most notable critiques came from John Lennox, a mathematician and philosopher of science. Lennox, who approached the question from a theological perspective, pointed out a fundamental flaw in Hawking's argument. He asked the pressing question, if the universe can emerge from nothing, then where did the laws of physics come from? In other words, if the universe is self-creating, who created the quantum laws and constants that allow it to exist? Lennox's critique rests on an ancient but still relevant philosophical idea. Every effect must have a cause. The idea that something could come from nothing without any cause runs against both logical reasoning and scientific observation. As Lennox famously put it, laws do not create themselves. If the laws of physics exist, they must come from somewhere. And this point leads us to one of the greatest unresolved questions in the debate between science and theology. Who or what caused the laws of physics? This brings us to the heart of the philosophical problem known as the paradox of infinite regression. According to this paradox, if every cause depends on a previous cause, then we are led to an infinite chain of causes with no beginning. If we keep asking what caused that, we end up in an endless loop. This creates an apparent logical contradiction. How could anything have begun in the first place if every cause requires a previous one? It is here that we encounter a deeper theological and philosophical insight, that in order for anything to exist, there must be a first cause, something that itself is not caused by anything else. And so we come back to the question that has occupied humanity for millennia. Who or what created the Creator? This is not just a theological dilemma. It is also a profound challenge to our understanding of causality, existence, and the nature of the universe itself. If the universe needs a creator, what does that say about the nature of that creator? And if the universe can create itself, what does that imply about the laws that govern it? In response to this paradox, many theologians and philosophers have posited that the universe, in all its complexity, requires a necessary being to explain its existence. A necessary being, unlike everything else in the universe, does not depend on anything else for its existence. It is self-existent, eternal, and unchanging, something that exists by its very nature without requiring a cause. This is the concept of God as the uncaused cause, the one who set the universe into motion without needing any external cause. The idea of a necessary being is not new. It can be traced back to ancient philosophers like Aristotle, who argued for the existence of an unmoved mover, a being that causes everything else without being caused itself. Aristotle's unmoved mover is eternal, unchanging, and beyond the chain of causality. For many theists, this unmoved mover is identified as God, the creator of all things. This concept of God as a necessary being helps us resolve the paradox of infinite regression. If the universe requires a cause, but that cause itself must be uncaused, then we arrive at the idea of a creator who is the foundation of all existence. This creator does not follow the rules of causality as we understand them. Instead, God exists outside of time and space, eternal and beyond the limits of our understanding. But while this idea provides an answer to the question of the universe's origin, it also raises new questions. If God exists as a necessary being, eternal and self-existent, how do we understand God's relationship to the universe? Is God a personal deity who interacts with creation, or is God the underlying principle of the universe, like Spinoza's conception of God as the substance of all things? The debate between these two views, God as a personal, interventionist being versus God as an impersonal force or principle, continues to be one of the most profound and complex issues in both theology and philosophy. While some see the universe as a creation that unfolds according to divine will, others see it as a reflection of a deeper, impersonal principle that governs all things. And yet, as we explore these questions, we are reminded of the profound mystery that surrounds them. Whether we look to science or to religion, we are confronted with the awe-inspiring complexity of the universe and the realization that there is so much more to understand than we can possibly comprehend. The search for answers, whether through the lens of science, philosophy, or faith, is a journey that takes us to the very edge of human understanding and perhaps beyond. So, as we continue our quest to understand the origins of the universe and the nature of the Creator, let us remember that the journey itself is as important as the answers we seek. For in our search for the divine, we may come to realize that the greatest mystery of all is not just the beginning of the universe, but the very nature of existence itself. Thus, as we move forward in our exploration of the universe's origins and the search for a creator, let us remember that every answer leads to more questions. And perhaps in the end, it is the questions that bring us closer to the truth, not just about the universe, but about ourselves and our place within the grand design. As we continue our journey through the cosmos and the eternal question of the Creator, we are faced with yet another fascinating concept, the fine-tuning of the universe. As science unravels the mysteries of the cosmos, one truth stands out. The universe is extraordinarily fine-tuned for life. From the strength of gravity to the precise ratio of protons to neutrons, everything in the universe seems perfectly calibrated to support life. This raises an intriguing question. Could such precision be the result of chance, or is there a deeper purpose behind the design of the universe? The fine-tuning of the universe is often seen as one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the existence of a creator. Consider, for example, the gravitational constant. If gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn through their fuel too quickly, collapsing into black holes before life could evolve. On the other hand, if gravity were slightly weaker, stars wouldn't ignite at all, and the universe would remain a cold, dark void. Similarly, the electromagnetic force, which governs the interactions between charged particles, is finely tuned to allow for the chemistry of life. Even the rate of cosmic expansion, governed by the cosmological constant, is perfectly balanced. If the expansion were too rapid, galaxies would never form. If it were too slow, the universe would collapse in on itself. These constants are so finely tuned that they seem almost miraculous, as if the universe were designed with life in mind. This has led many to suggest that the improbability of such precision occurring by chance points to the existence of an intelligent designer, a creator who set the universe in motion with a purpose and intent. The renowned astrophysicist Sir Martin Rees has said that the existence of life is not the product of random events, but rather of very specific conditions. The sheer improbability of these conditions occurring by chance makes it difficult to deny the possibility of a purposeful creator behind the universe's design. But what about those who argue against this conclusion? Some scientists, like Max Tegmark, propose the idea of a multiverse, an infinite number of universes, each with its own set of laws and constants. In this view, our universe is just one of many, and we happen to live in one that is finely tuned for life. However, this raises a deeper question. Why would a multiverse exist in the first place? What would cause these universes to emerge, and what determines their specific laws and constants? In the end, the multiverse hypothesis may shift the question one step back, but it still doesn't answer the fundamental question of why the universe, or the multiverse, exists at all. This brings us back to the fine-tuning argument and its connection to the idea of a creator. The precise balance of physical laws, constants, and conditions necessary for life to exist suggests that the universe may not be a random occurrence. Instead, it points to the possibility of an intelligent being, God, who carefully designed the universe to support life. In this view, the fine-tuning of the universe is not a mere coincidence, but a reflection of divine intelligence, a creator who crafted the cosmos with purpose and precision. But if God is the creator, the question still remains: who created God? This is where the concept of a necessary being comes into play. A necessary being, unlike everything else in the universe, does not require a cause for its existence. It simply is. This is the God of classical theism, the God who is eternal, self-existent, and unchanging. Unlike everything else in the universe, which is contingent upon other causes, this necessary being exists independently of everything else. It is the ultimate cause, the foundation upon which everything else rests. This concept of God as a necessary being helps resolve the paradox of infinite regression. If every cause requires a preceding cause, then we must eventually arrive at a first cause, a being that is itself uncaused. This being, according to many theists, is God. In this view, God is not just another entity in the universe, but the very foundation of all existence, the ultimate source of everything that exists. This concept of God as the uncaused cause provides a stopping point for the chain of causality, offering a resolution to the paradox of infinite regression. But even as we acknowledge the existence of a necessary being, we are left with a deeper mystery. What is the nature of this creator? Is God a personal, interventionist deity who actively shapes the course of history? Or is God an impersonal force, the underlying substance of the universe itself, as Spinoza suggested? This question has sparked a range of philosophical and theological debates throughout history. Some see God as a personal being who interacts with creation, while others view God as the essence of existence itself, a force that permeates all things. Here, we come to the ideas of some of history's greatest thinkers, like Baruch Spinoza and Albert Einstein. Spinoza, a 17th-century philosopher, rejected the traditional conception of God as a personal deity. Instead, he identified God with the totality of existence itself. For Spinoza, God was not a separate being who created the universe and then stood apart from it. Instead, God was the very substance of the universe, the essence that underlies all things. Everything in the universe, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, was a manifestation of the divine. Albert Einstein, though often misquoted as a believer in a personal God, shared many of Spinoza's views. Einstein rejected the idea of a God who intervened in human affairs. Instead, he believed that God was the embodiment of the natural laws that governed the universe. For Einstein, the beauty and order of the cosmos were evidence of a divine intelligence, not a personal deity. As Einstein famously wrote, "I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists." In this view, God is not a being who stands apart from creation, but is, in some sense, synonymous with the universe itself. The laws of nature, the constants that govern the cosmos, are not arbitrary or accidental. They are the expressions of the divine, a reflection of God's intelligence and order. For both Spinoza and Einstein, the search for God is not just a religious quest, but a scientific one as well. By studying the natural world, we come to understand the mind of God. But even as we explore these ideas, we must ask, what does it mean for us as humans to be part of this cosmic order? If everything in the universe is interconnected, if everything is a reflection of the divine, then our lives are not mere accidents. We are part of the great cosmic design, woven into the very fabric of existence. Our thoughts, our actions, our very being are shaped by the same laws that govern the stars and galaxies. And in this realization, we are called to recognize our place in the universe, not as masters of it, but as humble participants in the divine order. As we reflect on the nature of God, the fine-tuning of the universe, and our place within it, we are reminded of the profound mystery of existence. Whether we view God as a personal deity, an impersonal force, or the very substance of the universe itself, the questions we ask reveal something deeper about our human nature. We seek meaning, purpose, and understanding in a universe that is vast and incomprehensible. And in that search, we may discover not just the Creator, but ourselves. As we move forward in our exploration of the cosmos, let us remember that the questions we ask, the questions about creation, the universe, and the nature of God, are not just intellectual pursuits. They are deeply personal, reflecting our longing for meaning and connection in a world that often feels uncertain. In the end, it is the search for understanding, the search for the divine, that gives our lives purpose and direction. And perhaps in that search, we will find not just the answers we seek, but a deeper connection to the Creator who designed it all. As we come to the end of our journey through the vast and profound mysteries of the universe, we stand at a precipice, a place where science, faith, and philosophy converge. The question that has lingered for centuries, who created God, is not one that can be answered with simple logic or empirical evidence. But perhaps that is exactly where the beauty of the question lies. It pushes us to think beyond what we can see, beyond the physical laws that govern our world, and to search for something greater. As we've explored, the universe is finely tuned, with every law and constant calibrated to perfection, making life not only possible but inevitable. But if such precision exists, who set it all into motion? Who is the Creator behind it all? And, if God created the universe, who created God? These are questions that have sparked the greatest minds in history to think deeply about the origins of life and the purpose behind it. From Georges Lemaitre, whose theory of the Big Bang not only revolutionized our understanding of the universe, but also echoed the divine creation found in the opening verses of Genesis, to Stephen Hawking, who proposed a universe that could create itself, we see the spectrum of thought on the matter. Some see a personal God, a creator, who is deeply involved with the workings of the universe. Others, like Spinoza and Einstein, view God not as a being who exists apart from creation, but as the very essence of the universe itself. The Creator is not external, but intrinsic, woven into the very fabric of reality, revealing himself through the laws of nature and the precision of the cosmos. As we've discussed, the scientific discoveries we continue to make point us to the incredible complexity of the universe. The fine-tuning of the cosmos, from the strength of gravity to the ratios that govern atoms, leaves us in awe. How could such an intricate system, so perfectly balanced for life, come into being by chance? The fine-tuning argument strongly suggests the existence of an intelligent designer, a creator who has set the universe into motion with purpose and intentionality. But as we consider these questions, we are reminded that the search for answers is not just about seeking out the Creator, but about understanding our place within His creation. This journey is not just an intellectual pursuit. It is deeply personal, for in seeking answers to the mysteries of the universe, we are also seeking meaning, purpose, and connection. The universe, in all its wonder and complexity, is not a cold, random accident. It is a story, one that invites us to participate, to reflect, and to discover the divine within and around us. And as we search for the Creator, we are also searching for ourselves, for our place in this grand, interconnected cosmos. Whether through the lens of science, philosophy, or faith, our quest for understanding brings us closer to the truth that the universe is not merely something we observe, it is something we are part of. So, as you reflect on these ideas, I invite you to look beyond the stars and the vast stretches of space. Look within, for the answers we seek may not just lie in the cosmos, but in the depths of our hearts and souls. Just as the universe has been finely tuned to support life, so too are we finely tuned to seek out meaning and understanding. And in that search, we find not just the Creator, but ourselves, drawn closer to the truth that has always been there, hidden within the fabric of the universe. As we wrap up, I want to thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. We've explored some of the most profound questions of existence, and I hope this video has sparked a sense of wonder and curiosity within you. The search for the Creator, the search for understanding, is an ongoing journey, one that doesn't end here. It's a path that calls us to keep asking questions, to keep exploring, and to keep seeking. And remember, the more we search, the more we learn, the more we realize that every answer leads to even greater mysteries. If this video has resonated with you, if it has inspired you to think more deeply about the origins of the universe, the nature of God, and our place in the cosmos, I encourage you to hit that like button and subscribe. Your support means the world and helps me continue to create content that dives into these fascinating and profound topics. By subscribing, you'll join me on this journey of discovery, where we continue to ask the big questions, explore the mysteries of the universe, and seek out the truth that lies hidden in plain sight. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation. What are your thoughts on the fine-tuning of the universe? Do you believe in a personal creator, or do you view God as something more intrinsic to the universe itself? Let's keep this dialogue going as we explore these mysteries together. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep searching for the answers that will lead us closer to the truth.